Welcome to Universal Man. My name is Mark Klepp, and I'm here to help you sharpen your masculine edge. And in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about how anger can help you overcome apathy. All right, so here's what's up. Today, I was really struggling. Actually, the past few days, I've been struggling. I've had a lot of fire recently for this new project, for Universal Man, and a lot of emotional energy aligned toward just, busting out new videos, building the platform, and, building up all the other stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you in the future. And I was really excited and really passionate about it. But as more options started to come up, as I started to think about, what I could do, I started to get a little overwhelmed. I started to lose a little steam because some uncertainty started to set in. And that's pretty normal. When you're uncertain about stuff, it's difficult to get fired up. But a lot of times when you get into this uncertain state and your energy drops, you still need to keep moving. And for me, in these kinds of situations, it's very easy to give in to that feeling, to fall into a state of apathy, to fall into this state of, okay, well, until I have every single little detail figured out, I should stop moving. And uncertainty isn't the only thing that can trigger this. It can totally be, a lack of vision. It could be, maybe something bad happens, or, any number of things can set off apathy. Okay. Uncertainty is just one piece of it, but that happens to be the piece that I currently was dealing with. But many things can bring on this apathy. And the big thing is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about any sort of apathy that comes and sits inside of your heart? Because if you let it, it'll eat you up. It will eat you up, especially if you are just so sensitive and compassionate and kind toward it. If you just say, oh, it's okay, you can feel that way. Guess what happens? You keep feeling that way. In a lot of instances, at least, that's what's happened for me. I always thought if I just kind of chilled out and, let it work its course, it would eventually, go away. And I don't think that really happens. Maybe for some people it does. And of course, you're going to have, fluctuating moods, and, you might feel better later. But in all, like, motivation is something that you need to create on a day-to-day basis. It's something that you need to get adept at manifesting in yourself through knowing how to think and how to respond to particular emotions that come up, like apathy. So today, the particular strategy that I employed was to get pissed because, well, I was pissed. I was mad. I was mad at my emotions. And I think you're allowed to be mad at what goes on inside of you. In fact, I think as a man, that's one of the most useful things that you can do because, men are hormonally equipped to get pissed and aggressive. That's kind of like in our wheelhouse. We are designed to draw upon that energy to establish dominance or status, or defend dominance or status, or resources or morals or values, or however we want to apply it. We can use this aggressive energy far more easily, I think, and sustainably than women can. And so that's what I did today. I got pissed. And what did I get pissed at? Well, I didn't really get pissed at myself because I know that I'm allowed to feel these things, and it's appropriate for me to feel a little dips in emotion from here and there. That's normal. It's fine. And I'm accepting of that. But at the same time, I didn't want to settle for it. I didn't want to just sit in it. I didn't want to just be a victim to these emotions. So the way that I handled it is I imagine, I put a face on that feeling. I put a face on this block. I kind of just conjured up this picture of this big stuck sort of monster thing. And I said, all right, this is this feeling of malaise that has taken over me and irrationally holding me back from taking action on the things that I have clarity around. I pictured this thing and I made it my enemy. And I decided, no, you're not going to stop me. You're not going to hold me back. And as I let myself just get pissed off at this thing that was getting in the way of my dreams, my aspirations, and that sort of thing, I started to get pumped. My energy started to rise. It started returning to me. The apathy started to lift. And that's the beautiful thing about anger. It's important. It impels you to take action. When I was going through coach training, we had like all these 7 levels of energy that we studied. And at the very bottom, you got victim energy. And that's essentially what apathy is this feeling that you don't have control, you don't have power. And the next level up is what they call level 2 energy. And that's kind of like combat or competition energy, or something like that. Like, it can be kind of toxic if used wrong, but many times you have to pass through this anger stage to get out of the victim or apathy stage. And so this is what I did. And maybe you can sense a little bit of that energy still here right now because I'm using it. It's useful. But there's a point to where you have to have a little nuance around it. You can't just become an anger addict. I think that's actually what some people do. That's why we have anger management classes, because if this is your only coping strategy and your anger exists in a vacuum, obviously it can be super destructive, incredibly destructive, to the point where I think this is why many people have kind of, like society as a whole, has sort of repressed the appropriate use of this anger energy, because it has been so destructive, and because of that, people are afraid of it. So you can't look at this anger as an end. It's not a solution. You know, it can give you kind of a bit of a boost, an emotional high that is much better than feeling apathetic. But if you just stay there, nothing good's going to come of it. It's going to eat you alive. It's a catabolic state that's not meant to be constantly sustained just by itself. And so here's where you've got to plug it into something bigger. You have to plug it in to meaning. You have to plug it into action. You have to turn that anger into meaningful action. And when you do that, you have two forces at work for you then. You have the anger force that's pushing you away from the bad thing, that state you do not like. So for me, it was a state of inactivity, inauthenticity, and kind of apathy. All right, that's the state I was angry about. I use it to push that energy away. But then, I have something good that continues to pull me. And that is my vision for this work, my vision for Universal Man, for the men I want to help, the impact I want to have on the world. So you got to have your push and you've got to have your pull. And maybe you don't have a big vision yet. Maybe one of the big things you have is just plain uncertainty. You don't know what you want, but you don't like where you're at. Well, in that case, the push is, well, I'm going to get the heck out of this stuck spot. And, the pull needs to be just some kind of vision of something better, just some kind of hope, some kind of inspiration. It can be anything, even if it's just this abstract notion of being a better man. Start there, take action, and it's going to evolve. It's going to flesh out. As you take steps forward, the horizon's going to become less distant and more distinct. So that's it. Hope you liked it. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave any feedback you have for me. I really like hearing from you. Go to universalman.com, sign up for my newsletter. That is the way that I really like to stay in touch with you guys, give you some behind the scenes of what I'm going through, what I'm planning on doing, that sort of thing. But other than that, stay sharp.